There are some things that I said, I'm the only person.
Awesome.
I'm taking seconds.
All right. Welcome to the City Council Special Meeting of Tuesday, May 16th, 2023. Two items on the agenda. First item being consideration of acceptance, approval, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement of Resolution R 2223-137, a resolution of the Council of the City of Norman, Oklahoma, declaring the 2023 Korn Ferry Tour Compliance Solutions Championship Golf Course Tournament to be held in the City of Norman from June 19th through June 23rd, 2023, as a quality event for the purpose of applying for tax incentives available pursuant to the State of Oklahoma's Quality Events Initiative Act, identifying eligible expenses and assigning any payments made to the city pursuant to the Quality Events Incentive Act to Visit Norman for the promotion of qualifying events.
So moved.
Okay, thank you. I was thinking, how can I make a motion?
Second.
All right. I got a motion and a second. All right, let's have discussion on that. Do you know what the Korn Ferry Tour is?
Yes.
Okay, where? That was a lot of it. You have something?
I didn't know if anybody had, so this is a new program that, well, not a new, but it's since 2010. The state has been trying to encourage cities to bring in events that would contribute to the economy. Mr. Peacock should certainly know about it because he drew it to Mr. Olson's attention. And these are two additional events that are coming up that Visit North, the assistance of Visit Norman, the city is preparing to submit an application, and one of those steps is to have a resolution that we do deem them both quality events in terms of the interest that we'll be drawing from the region and other states as well as within Oklahoma.
It is tremendous. It's a tremendous thing that will happen, I hope, will happen to us and not only bring in money, but just bring us up on the map. If Tulsa can do it, why can't we?
That's right. And Mr. Brown with Visit Norman is here if you have any questions about either of the events that we're hoping you will declare a quality event for the city.
Do you have any questions of me?
Well, I would like to hear just from your own words, like what are the, I mean, I don't know that much about this first one. So you might tell us,
Sure,
just so
it's
that the public knows a little bit more about like how many visitors, what does it kind of
Sure.
do?
And I haven't done the economic impact on the Korn Ferry yet, but I do think it's going to be around and bring in about $1 million to this community. It's a PGA tour style event, so golf tournament. I think that there's about 300 golfers that will be in here, and the participants and visitors alike. So
And that's hotels and food and, yeah.
Is council going to have a team? Or I'm voting against it.
Oh, we can have
It's
a
all or
team. I don't know if we'll
nothing.
get through the
I mean-
qualification.
and it is a 5-year contract.
Oh, it is?
Yes,
And will they play all of those 5 years?
all 5 years will be here in Norman.
Yes, ma'am.
And I was just gonna ask, so are these like players who are like on the cusp of breaking into?
Yes.
So like this is a chance for people to see some folks before they blow up.
Like
Absolutely.
Like us.
Which course are they playing?
That will be at OU Jimmy Austin. Yep.
Very good.
Further questions or things that you want to know? All right.
I
well
would
then-
say
Yes,
just
sir.
one thing. I would let them know that we got road improvement projects around there that'll make it look even nicer. So attract them to stay for another 5 years.
And Reeves will look good.
That's right.
It'll be a good time
Perfect.
and stuff. All right. Well, then we've got a motion and second. Motion on the floor is to accept. The agenda item as it comes in and allow Visit Norman to do this and collect money on our behalf and be our deal. We can't vote in here, though. That's
Yeah,
what.
you can.
I can vote in here?
Are
Okay.
we roll call voting?
Let's do it by hand vote. And those up firm? Unanimous. Perfect. Thank you all. Now comes my favorite one. Second favorite one. Item number 2, consideration of acceptance, approval, rejection, amendment. Did you have a question?
He was just wondering about public comment.
Oh, Do you want to have public comment?
I just didn't know if we had needed to.
I'll ask for it. Okay, prior to moving to item 2, is there any public comment? Hearing none. I'm moving to item 2. Consideration of acceptance, approval, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement of Resolution R 2223-138, a resolution of the Council of the City of Norman, Oklahoma, declaring the 2023 National Beep Ball Association World Series to be held in the City of Norman from July 30th, 2023 through August 5th, 2023, as a quality event for the purpose of applying for tax incentives available pursuant to the State of Oklahoma's Quality Events Incentives Act, identifying eligible expenses and assigning any payments made to the city pursuant to the Quality Events Incentives Act to Visit Norman for the promotion of quality events. I have a motion to
So
accept.
moved.
Second.
I have a motion and second discussion. You know what beep ball
I
is?
do know what b-ball is.
What is beep ball?
Beep ball is people who are visually impaired playing baseball, and they can flat do it. They really can. They go out there and have a ball, and it is amazing how hard it is, first off, to hit the ball. Put your blindfold on and try it. It's just
I can't hit
amazing.
with eyes.
Me neither.
It is just amazing, and they have so much fun, and I think it's just a quality event that shows that anybody can do what they need to do even if they're visually impaired or anything else, so that we can do. I'd like this to lead to one day that we put in a miracle field and letting all those disabled kids be able to play ball. But this is the start of that.
And they'll play at Griffin Park?
They'll
Oh,
play at
soccer.
Griffin Park because they
Soccer
need
field.
2 soccer fields. And it's at an odd time. Jason's probably here. I don't know. I'm doing your time.
Well, so beep ball, of course, is for visually impaired, where they're going to be playing out at Griffin Park. Visit Norman has brought this event in. How many teams, Trent, do you think there will be?
There'll be over 20 teams from all
There we
over
go.
the world.
That's awesome.
Yes.
And we did I believe back a few months ago, we did a kind of demonstration game here. And the interesting thing about beep ball is that they do play out at the soccer field, so it can be more open. They ask people not to cheer until in between plays, so that people are able to hear the ball. And even if if you do have decent vision, the people that can see, they do put blindfolds on them so that they would be on everybody on an even playing field. This is a great thing, basically showing to everybody that Norman's open for business, no matter what your abilities are. Please come here, and we're going to find a place for you.
And we have done an economic impact study on this, and it will bring in over $500,000 to Norman. Also, we'll need about 100 volunteers per day, so you can send that out to all your guys' contacts as well.
I spoke with what is the student governments down at OU's, whatever that's called.
SGA.
Could be.
Government Association?
Student government bunch, and also to the Greeks, to see if we could get enough people at one time, because they need hours to volunteer.
Sure.
We need volunteers. This is not, we can sign that kind of stuff up. And that's a large group of people. It doesn't quite fit into the semester, a lot of them would be missing, but we'll see what we can get. That's some at least. 100 is what we need. I'll start on the churches.
Great.
We'll get something, because it amazes me. It amazes me how important this could be just for us, just to be decent folk.
For those of you that haven't seen it, I'll be happy to forward you a video that is just a 5-minute short video, but it's amazing. It's fascinating how they play. So,
So,
Okay.
any other questions or discussions? All right.
Great work.
I'll call the vote. All those in favor of approving this resolution? Unanimous? Thank you all. I forgot to ask for public comment. Is there any public comment? Hearing none.
Next is Quidditch, right?
Quidditch.
We've
Yeah.
talked about it, believe it or not. Yes.
Bring it. I'm voting
Okay.
right now.
I met with them this last week in Kansas City, so
That's a real
I'm
thing.
on
I'll
it.
hold you to
It's
that.
a real thing.
She'll dress up.
No, I will.
Okay.
I got
Harry
Rhodes.
Potter fan, got it.
Yes.
Which house are
Yeah,
you in?
Quidditch and
I'm
dodgeball.
split. I mean, you can't be a politician and not be a little Slytherin. But Gryffindor too.
There you go.
I mean, be honest.
Well, item number 3, discussion regarding the proposed FY 2024 City of Norman budget enterprise funds.
You have too much money.
Gotta laugh to keep from crying.
I was so depressed after the Bahamas cruise for New Year's. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Kim Kaufman, Budget Manager, and we're going to be discussing the enterprise fund budget for fiscal year ending 2024. That's going to start on July 1st, 2023 and June 30th, 2024. Chris Mattingly, the Utilities Director, and Nathan Maddenwalls, Utilities Engineer, are here to assist if you have any detailed questions. This shows where we are in the fiscal year ending 2024 budget process. We've already had 5 study sessions, 1 public budget hearing. We have 1 more budget hearing and an additional study session if needed. And then the council will consider the budget for adoption on June 13th. So the enterprise funds are operated like a private business. The intent is that the costs of providing the goods or services will be recovered primarily through user charges. The funds in the enterprise funds are the sanitation fund, the water fund, the water reclamation fund, and then some sub-funds of the water reclamation fund are the sewer maintenance and new development excise tax funds. Beginning with the sanitation fund. Some statistics on this fund. We collect over 110,000 tons per year in the residential and commercial sections, 30,000 tons per year in the yard waste and compost facility. We started curbside recycling in 2008. Republic Services is our current contractor. We have an 86% participation rate, and we collect over 4,000 tons per year in recycling. These are kind of tiny, but the yellow stars depict the recycling drop-off centers here. We have 4. We collect about 2,000 tons per year at these drop-off centers. We have a hub at the transfer station as well, collects scrap iron, wood, and glass. And we've recycled over 300 tons per year of glass.
Yes, sir.
Have we thought about putting one at Griffin Park or somewhere in northeast Norman area? I'm sure we have, but
Yeah, it's hard finding people that allow us to put one there.
I mean, I guess the state owns it, but
Yeah,
at Griffin Park we couldn't put one there.
we've tried, and actually Central State, that land in there, we tried there, didn't get open arms. But yeah, we're always looking.
There also used to be one at the county fairgrounds, but they
Right.
So we moved it to Westwood.
I remember we used to have one at Lindsay and 12th too, at that shopping center, and that was removed too. So, yeah, just the one east side one being at our
If you ever
library.
hear of someone
Fire station.
that would allow it, we're in. We ask a lot. People are not up for it. They're worried about blowing trash. And
Sure.
Usually the comments. We try
But
to
those
keep
are
them- we
those.
keep them,
They're heavily used though. The ones we do have those
yes.
locations.
Really well, yeah.
I would note that Moore voted down a recycling program last week, so for the 3rd time, I guess. But we continue to have one of the highest participation rates
Yes,
in the country.
yes.
That's great. Thanks.
So this chart is a comparison of Norman sanitation rates compared to 16 other cities. Norman's services include, of course, the 2 bulk trash pickups, 1 in spring, 1 in fall, weekly collection, weekly yard waste collection, free brush drop-off for recycling drop-off centers that were just mentioned, free compost as available, and then the residential curbside recycling. And you can see here our rate of $17.20 is higher than only 4 other cities. 2 of those cities do not include recycling, curbside recycling. I kind of changed the chart up a little bit this year. The blue lines do not include curbside recycling. The orange lines, some cities now are offering curbside recycling separately through a third party. I believe it's called, it's like Recycling Monkey or something like that. More offers that, and you just have to go to their website to get that. But anyway, it's not included in these rates that are here.
Is it also true that most cities don't, or a lot of cities don't offer this same, that part on the right there, offer those services that we do also?
True, yes.
I've heard that mentioned
I
before.
know Oklahoma City though has 2 large trash pickup days. They give vouchers, or you're allowed to have 2 per month. We're looking at something like that instead of the fall and spring cleanup. It's getting tougher to maintain and have volunteers come, and even though we pay overtime, we're getting slimmer on our workforce. So we're looking at something, maybe having an ability to go year round and get a picker truck and be able to do that.
So major revenue assumptions in the sanitation fund budget for fiscal year ending '24. The rate was last increased in April 2011 to our current $17.20 rate per month. That includes the $3 recycling fee and 20 cents for the Oklahoma Solid Waste Management charge. An additional polycart is $7 a month, and we estimate a growth rate of about 1.8% per year on sanitation fee revenue. Major expenditures for fiscal year ending 2024, $3.2 million is included in the fiscal year ending 24 budget for fleet-related replacement purchases, mostly the trash trucks. The landfill tipping expenses increased 27% from fiscal year ending 23 to 24. This is for 2 reasons. Our costs did go up a little bit. I think it was about 4%, if I'm correct. And then we did have volume increases from last year to next year.
We're not quite there yet, but on the recycling contractor, Chris, is this something that we ever considered? Because I am such a Noble resident that I have twice as much recycle as I do like regular trash. Like, I mean, I know that we're seeing like a pretty big increase here, but what would it cost to do it like more like every week instead of
Every
just,
week?
yeah.
Right now, the $3 gets it every other week.
Mhm.
And that's about, the private company is gonna go above that. They were at $2.99 this last year.
Mhm.
Next year, they're going to $3.30, so they're gonna outrun our $3. But we've looked at it and think we can do it internal with our own people, and we're getting 3 trucks. And so we think we can do it for like $2.80 and stay under that $3. If we did go to more times, we would probably have to increase, I would suggest, we might have to double that, make it $6.
Is it better to have more cans? I don't know if 2 cans every other week is I mean, if that makes the math work better.
Can you have to recycle? Yes.
Yeah.
$7.
I asked the same question.
That way it'd be site-specific.
Don't reelect me, Ward 6. I don't know this. What? You're getting an email, sir. We're gonna figure this out.
Yeah, I would just encourage everyone to note how much it costs for the landfill every year. It's $3 million a year we're spending just to throw stuff away.
Yeah.
You know, so everybody be really conscious about what we're throwing away and use that, take advantage of the recycling program. And I've been on a tour, me and former Mayor Miller went on a tour of the Republic facility in Oklahoma City.
Mhm.
And it was very fascinating. I think they'll take anybody that wants to go.
Did you go to the MRF?
Yes. Yeah. It was pretty eye-opening about how that works. So yeah, just one of those things I think a lot of people don't think about though is $3 million a year just to use a landfill in Oklahoma City. You know, what else could we be spending $3 million a year if we didn't have that?
Mile of road.
Recycle more.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, Chris, is that $3 million for fleet-related replacement purchases, 3 trucks? Is that what you're saying?
No, that they're about $500,000 a truck now.
Oh, golly.
They were $350,000 a truck, and then this last year and a half,
Oh my
the
gosh.
prices have skyrocketed on us.
That's
You know, because the
robbery.
technology's changed so much.
Does it float? Does it float through that?
It looks like a cloud.
Okay.
Kim?
Recycling contractor expense increased 3.6% to 1.62 million in fiscal year '24. And the ending fund balance for the sanitation fund is just over $4 million in fiscal year '24. Major projects completed or to be completed in fiscal year '24, the new sanitation facility at $2.5 million. Major projects from fiscal year ending '23 to be completed in '24, the compost facility scale house modification at a cost of $420,000 and the transfer station renovation at a cost of $2 million. No major new projects have been scheduled or budgeted for fiscal year '24. So moving on to everybody's favorite, the water fund. Water production is about 5 billion gallons annually. And the water treatment plant depicted here in the bottom left corner, of course, runs 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Waterline Maintenance Division maintains 650 miles of water pipe, 48-inch every year, or all the time, over 7,000 fire hydrants, and over 13,000 valves each year, or all the time. They repair an average of 180 water line breaks annually, and they replace about 3,000 feet of old, deteriorated, or undersized water mains annually. They maintain 1,200 fire hydrants and over 41,000 water meters.
There's a hobbit in that car.
Somebody do a 10.
We had the same picture last year, and that was the same comment.
Same hop.
Just saying.
So the water rate history. In 1999 is when we started our current, or the inverted block rate, to encourage conservation. Progressive rate structure that charges higher rates to higher customers with higher usages. Higher tiers affect only about 25% of residential customers. We had a water rate increase approved in March of 2006. We took another election to the voters in 2010, and that failed. And then 9 years after the 2006 increase, we had another water rate increase approved, and that gave us our current water rates that we have right now in 2015. And this was to fund water treatment plant improvements and obtain 2 million gallons per day of additional groundwater supply. Then, of course, last April, we had a failed water rate increase vote, and the new vote will be coming up next month. And so just keep in mind, since 1999, we've only had 3 water rate increases.
Councilmember?
And that includes 1999, by the way.
That's correct.
And everything from the last water rate increase, all the projects that were identified that voters approved have been completed. Is that right? Like the
The one we didn't pass or the one we passed?
The one we passed in
Yes,
2015.
yes.
All the projects
Wells, yes.
that voters approved then have been
Right.
done. That was a like $33 million expansion of the water treatment plants,
Yes.
which has been completed, and then the new wells
New
and all
wells.
that. Okay. So we've completed as promised. If anybody asked.
So it's been about 8 years since our last water rate increase. Our current rate structure, $6 base fee, $3.35 for every 1,000 gallons up to 5. From 5,000 to 15,000, it's $4.10 per 1,000. $5.20 per 1,000 for 15,000 gallons through 20. And then over 20,000 is $6.80 per 1,000. The proposed rate in next month's election would increase the base fee $4.90, be a slight increase for the usage for 0 to 5,000 gallons, 5,000 to 15, and so forth. And just a little comparison that I put together to cover about 90% of our bills. A 5,000 gallon bill would currently costs about $22.75. With the proposed rates, it would be $28.20, which is a $5.45 increase. 10,000 gallons of usage currently is $43.25, and with the proposed rates, it would be about $50.70. So up to 10,000 gallons of usage, again, covers about 90% of our bills. So that's only a $7.45 increase for about 90% of our bills. We also have summer surcharge during July and August. That's 35 cents per 1,000 gallons of usage over 20,000 gallons per month. And then we have the mandatory odd even day watering rotation system to try to conserve water and reduce usage.
Have we reminded, I guess this is a Chris question, have we reminded people that we do odd even?
Yes, we send it out every so often, just a reminder that it's year round. It's part of our contract buying from Oklahoma City, every city they sell to, that we all practice odd even year round.
And that's based, of course, on your house number. That might be obvious, but.
And that summer surcharge, is that gonna remain the same?
Yes.
Okay. People need to fill their pools up now then.
So on to our water rate comparison with the other 16 cities. Norman is the lowest. This is for 10,000 gallons of usage. It's just under $48 for us, and everybody else is much higher. Kind of ranges from about $48 in Ardmore all the way up to about $88 in Edmond. So we're still the lowest. Major revenue assumptions for the water fund. We do estimate a growth rate of about 2% per year in water fee revenue. The connection charges increase for all meter sizes for 22-23 as follows. 3/4 of an inch is $1,500. 1 inch is $2,500. 1.5 inches is about $5,000, and then 2 inches is $10,000. Expenditure assumptions for the water fund. Interim water purchase contract with Oklahoma City is budgeted at $1.24 million for fiscal year 24. That's 1 million gallons a day at 2.73 per 1,000. That's an increase from 2023 when it was 2.61 or $2.61 per 1,000 gallons. The COMCD, I always have to look at my notes, I can never remember that acronym. It's
Oklahoma Master Conservancy District.
Thank you. Budgeted at $938,000 for fiscal year 24. That's an 18% decrease from 2023. And this, of course, is a replacement of a raw water line in Lake Thunderbird. It supplies water for Norman, Midwest City, and Dell City. Norman shares 43%.
You vote whichever one.
Okay. Are we, in the budget, are we assuming that the water rate is passing or no? There's no assumption on that, so that's not reflected in the current.
No, that's not included.
Okay.
Before you go on, I want to just highlight that fund balance number. $103,000 fund balance on a $20 million budget is dangerously low. And notice that it goes negative in the next year.
Yeah.
In the best of times, worst of times, that's the worst of times. So.
He's stealing my thunder on that. 351,000. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to just mention about the connection fee real quick. So it went up again in April because we did a 2-year. So it went up last year, went up this year. And we did the same thing in 2016-17 where it raised 2 years in a row. So we've raised the connection fees 4 times since the last time we've had a overall rate increase. So I think that's an important thing to note for our residents when we're having that discussion, is that we've increased it 4 times actually. And so I don't know, we have raised it 4 times.
$351,000 is included in the fiscal year ending 24 budget for fleet-related replacement purchases and other capital equipment in the water fund. So that's a low number compared to the $3 million in the sanitation fund, obviously. And as Anthony pointed out, the fiscal year ending 24 ending fund balance is only $100,000, and we had to delay a lot of projects to get to that number so that we had a positive fund balance. And the projects that were delayed are critical projects. So I have an upcoming slide that shows all of those delays, and a lot of those projects have been delayed now for multiple years. So it's getting very dire. And then again, the projected fund balance in fiscal year in 25 is a negative 11 million. So not good. Major projects completed in fiscal year 23, the water line replacement from Flood Robinson to Venture, 3.8 million, includes the James Garner water line replacement, which was a collaboration with Public Works from the library to Robinson. The Porter water line replacement at 2.2 million, also collaboration with Public Works. The water treatment plant solar array, 1.4 million. Water treatment plant carbon dioxide tank replacement, 320,000, and then connection of wells 5, 6, and 52 at a cost of 625,000.
Where is 52 at?
It was just east of the water plant, and the water was kind of soft, and the arsenic was getting a little bit higher, and a lot of folks were complaining actually because it felt slimy in the shower, so we had turned it off.
Okay.
But now we're blending it back in so we can bring it back online.
Thank you, sir.
Water project construction, some nice pictures here. That's the solar array over there, isn't it? The solar garden. Major projects from fiscal year ending 23 to be complete in 24. James Garner water line replacement from Maine to Duffy, $2 million. Again, in collaboration with Public Works. Jenkins water line improvements with Public Works, existing water line replacement at 1.2 million, and 24-inch water line extension segment D, cost of 800,000. South Lake Addition water line replacement at a cost of 1.2 million. Water line replacement Danfield between Brookhaven, $810,000, and then the line maintenance building at $4.3 million. Of course, this was in combination with Water Reclamation Fund funding. Major projects from 23 ongoing next fiscal year. The advanced water metering infrastructure at 17 million, and then major new water projects for fiscal year ending 24. Water line replacement Tecumseh from 24th Northwest to Journey Parkway, 5.2 million. And the lead service line inventory at 1.65 million. So this shows how we got to that $100,000 fund balance. These are future projects. These are critical projects that need to happen, but we don't have the funding for them. So groundwater disinfection, 4.5 million, has been delayed from the current fiscal year, has been pushed all the way out to fiscal year 25. Flood Avenue water line from Gray to Robinson, 2.5 million, pushed out to fiscal year 27, delayed from fiscal year 21. So that's 2 years ago. Robinson 30-inch water line from 24th Northeast to Flood, 13 million, pushed out to 24, that's this upcoming fiscal year, delayed from fiscal year 21. Alameda 24-inch water line from 24th Northeast to Carter, 8.2 million, pushed to fiscal year 27 from the current fiscal year. Hall Park water line replacements, 1.2 million, pushed to fiscal year 25 from fiscal year 21. Robinson Water Tower, 773,000, pushed to fiscal year 25 from the current fiscal year. Segment D water line from Jenkins to Imhoff to Highway 9, 1.5 million, pushed to fiscal year 25, and then the Classen water line, 16-inch, cost of $20 million, pushed to fiscal year 25 to fiscal year 29.
Is this list in an FAQ somewhere on the campaign about water?
No, it just said more generic, saying we're just having to push projects back. That's how we stay in balance.
Yeah, but I think that this really shows how dire the situation is, that we've got projects from fiscal year 21 that we've had to delay already. And then, ones that should have come this year that are getting pushed to 25, 27, 29. And these are critical things. And I guess explaining to the public, and maybe this comes in like our town halls and things like that, but what happens if one of these breaks?
Right, that's
Right?
what we say. We do on our speaking tour here, we always say we kind of handle it by triage. We're doing the worst first. And then the others have to get pushed back. And you're right, if something starts blowing up, it gets moved to the front of the line and something else has to be pushed back.
Right, and that's not a way for us to manage our, our utility. That's not how you would do any kind of business, is like, oh, we're just in survival mode constantly and you can never get ahead of, any of the things that we're doing. And I know that you've had moments where, you fix one break and then, several feet up the line it breaks again. And so you're just putting basically like tourniquets on patchwork, right? Like on these lines. And I mean, is it gonna have to get to the point where we have residents that are without water for days, weeks, months, because we don't have the ability to replace them? So I think this paints a real picture of where we are.
If Ken, could you go back to the previous slide? Because down there at the bottom, I want to highlight again that lead service line inventory. That's the first part of a project that, again, we know we're mandated to do with replacing all of our lead lines. And this just tells you where they are.
Yeah.
I think Nathan and Chris have a pretty good idea of where they are. But this will show you and map it out and everything. But these are pipes we're gonna have to replace, and we don't have the money to replace them. I mean,
Yeah, I'm looking at you, Ward 2, Ward 4, Ward 7, the older infrastructure, like parts of town, so. That's me.
Let's get that on the website. And that negative 11 million.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a little scary too.
Councilmember Grant?
Yeah, can we go back to the slide that we were at? For the most part, are those all East Side Norman projects?
About, yeah.
What in Ward 6?
Yeah.
So the majority of these are East Side? Okay, so I think that's interesting. We hear complaints from the East Side that they're neglected.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's probably also good to note, wouldn't it be, Anthony, that that $20 million that we're gonna spend is today's dollars, that's not $29.
Yeah.
That may be 5 times that amount in 2020.
Well, and as, when you think about the timing, if everybody in the United States all has to start replacing old steel lines all at once,
Yeah.
I can assure you the price of PVC and the price of labor is gonna go way up.
Yeah.
So we'll be competing for those materials.
Councilmember Hall?
The groundwater disinfection, so that's like a new requirement, right? How are we able to delay it?
Okay, it was the one that really we're out of compliance with DEQ, and we needed it last time. Remember the E. coli outbreak? Yes. Okay. If we would have had chlorine in the water, that would have helped us fight against that. Without the chlorine in the water, we are susceptible to dirty fingerprints when a line breaks or someone's working on a line. They don't get it really clean. The little bacteria can get in the water, and in well water, it can just head to town and be happy. Once it sees chlorine in the water, that helps kill it or curtail it, right, from coming into town. And so that's why, so DEQ, yeah, has a rule, we need to have that in there. But then also, I want it just for our safety. It makes the water safer if we do have chlorine in. So we're out of compliance.
Okay.
We're still out of compliance. We have a design underway. We're trying to makeshift a smaller, some type of chlorination there at 36th and Tecumseh. So we're moving forward, but just, we're gonna have to watch, see how much money we have, and see if we can afford it.
How long would they let us be out of compliance?
I said they might fine us, and I think the paper called DEQ, and they said they're gonna work with us as long as they see us making progress. But on one of my slides in my presentation, I show in 2014, they gave us $80,000 fine because we weren't fast enough putting the UV system in at the water reclamation facility. So I don't know when they pull that trigger and give you a consent order with a fine in it.
Okay. So that's a pretty important one, I would say. And then my Lindsay Street water tower, it's an already existing
It's already being worked on.
project.
We're evaluating either non-potable or using it for potable water, and just seeing the value to make sure we can really make it work. To just paint it and leave it there
Yes.
doesn't make as much economic sense, but as long as it can be used either to irrigate the ball fields for Reeves Park, they're ready for us. They kind of planned that one day we might have a non-potable water, not drinkable, but be great for irrigation. And so then that could hold that amount of water that could irrigate those fields every night.
Like I mentioned before, I would like to get that painted as sooner than later. I would say definitely before the first football game in the next season, like not this coming fall, but just if those aren't familiar, it's right by the stadium. It's on Lindsay Street. It's on top of a hill right next to the railroad tracks. And so it's really prominent. Everybody sees it, and it's rusting really bad. And it's not in use, but it kind of gives like a, it doesn't help with our image of our water being problematic to see like when the students are on campus and it's like, and they pan the video across the campus for a football game, and it's like our old rusted water tower there. And so I think it's a real historic piece of Norman. That's why I want to preserve it and hopefully continue using it for the reuse stuff or watering the fields and whatnot. But I do think it's really important, even if OU doesn't want to help us put their logo on there, I think it's important that we get it repainted.
It's just, it's estimated to be $500,000 to $600,000 to paint it.
Yeah.
And so that's a big number if we can't use it somehow, either for potable or non-potable. So we're really trying to make sure it's something we can use to benefit one of the funds.
Perfect.
Well, we rent the space on that thing for a cell phone tower, don't we?
Not anymore.
Not anymore?
They moved to a monopole just
Oh, down,
south.
that's right, down the hill. Councilmember Peacock?
Thanks. Chris, do you know if we can use our GIS system to basically show visually like what each one of these water lines services? Like say this Robinson 30-inch, can you pull up a map that says it services this area, these businesses, and these households? Because I'm with Councilmember Schuler. I mean, I think this data is really powerful in text format, and I think it'd be even more impactful in a visual format. Exactly. Yeah.
You can get close, but like the 30-inch along Robinson, that's going to be like a main artery to
Okay.
get the plant water to the west side of town. So it's kind of affects a lot of folks.
Well, I think
Well, then I
that
think
Do
that-
it.
yeah.
that image would be
Do
pretty
it.
impactful.
Others are like, I know I saw one on there, sometimes they're paired up with Public Works if they're doing a road project. We just want to get new infrastructure under that new road
Right.
before they put new concrete over an old water line.
That makes sense. Well, I think, yeah, if there's any way we can get that information graphically, that would, at least the major ones, I mean, the $13 million project, $20 million project, just some of these bigger ticket
It would be
items.
close, yeah. And sometimes, the water, it'll serve there.
Sure.
It might move on by, it might back up and serve down here. It changes. It's always in motion.
No, that makes sense. I think if people are able to say, well, gosh, if I don't do something about this water line, I'm going to be without water, and then you have some ownership of it at a certain point. So.
And highlight it in like burnt orange. Make it really ugly. It's like, oh, I don't want that.
Appreciate that.
Kim?
So this is a depiction of like the Lake Thunderbird augmentation process. We treat Lake Thunderbird water at the water treatment plant, and then that's the water we drink. Advanced treatment at water reclamation facility gets pumped over the ridge to creek discharge back into Lake Thunderbird.
And this just, we're thinking of maybe doing this. It's the pilot project at the wastewater plant, that if it all proves well, we'll all be on board, hopefully. And then Midwest City and Dell City, I need to show them the value. If they get on board, the three cities will ask COCD to go ask DEQ to let's take the next step and try to make this happen.
Great.
Chris, how much water do we have in the lake right now?
7 inches over full, which is awesome. Yeah.
Wow,
We were
lots of rain.
overutilizing our allocation up to this point this year, just because it was kind of dry that last March through October. And then we kind of got into October, November, and we started hitting it hard from our lake allocation. We're only supposed to use 3 billion gallons a year. And the other two cities were watching us, and we were on track to use more than that. We came out of the gate strong, and so we were trying to get back within our allocation. But when the rain overfills the lake, they turn off the allocation clock, and now it's free water because it's in flood. It would be just flood water. So this is excellent. So now we're going to try to get caught up, get back within our permit annual. And Dell City and Midwest City are watching us. They want to make sure all three cities use their fair portion, and we don't overuse our portion.
If I may, one thing I would point out down there at the bottom left, where it's talking about that water reclamation facility project phase 2 that we did. I know a lot of times you hear Kim or Chris and them say, well, we've done all the projects, Councilmember Holman asked about this. We've done all the projects that 8 year ago rate increase was supposed to do. The project's done. So why can't you just roll back the rates? Well, that $50 million is gonna be paying debt service for another 15 years, so you can't roll back the rates just because you finished the project. We have to pay the mortgage on that price.
And I'm gonna throw one out too. A while ago, we were looking at COMCD's budget. They usually carry a balance of about $10 million. They only bring in $2.5 million operations a year. They're a small little outfit, but they're healthy. They have few loans. They have a balance of 10 million, so they have some pay-go in case one of the big raw water lines break, and they can fix it. And then you look at our budget, we're bringing in 25 million a year, and we only have 100,000 in our little reserve. That's scary compared to a healthy group out at the lake.
Kim?
So moving on to the water reclamation or sewer fund. These are some statistics of the plant performance here. Our average flow is about 11 million gallons per day. Sewer line maintenance division in the water reclamation fund maintains about 500 miles of sewer lines, over 12,000 manholes. They clean over 1 million feet of sewer lines each year, and they inspect and record over 250,000 feet of sewer lines. Over the last 20 years, they've reduced the sanitary sewer overflows by 90%. So another rate comparison with the 16 other cities. These are rates for 10,000 gallons of usage. You can see that only Newcastle is lower than Norman for 10,000 gallons. I believe that's because they haven't increased their rates since 2018. Tulsa is quite high, but that's because they actually bill for winter quarter average. So the consumption wouldn't be this high normally. Their rates are higher than ours, but it wouldn't be that high. But you can see that Norman is still fairly low. Revenue assumptions in the Water Reclamation Fund for fiscal year 2024. The wastewater service rates were raised in November of 2013. That's the last time they were raised. So our current rates are $5 base plus $2.70 per 1,000 gallons of treated wastewater. And again, that's based on the winter quarter average year. So the water usage for January, February, March, that's how they determine your annual sewer rate. User fee revenues for fiscal year 2024 are budgeted with no increase. So they were budgeted with a 2% increase in, was it 2% or 1.8? A 2% growth in fiscal year 24, but we are going to have an amendment coming to council to reduce that to a flat growth because we don't think it's going to quite meet that goal. And same for the current fiscal year, as a matter of fact. Estimated fiscal year ending 23 fund balance $256,000, and then the fiscal year 24 ending fund balance is projected at $587,000. Again, with some delays to capital projects. So sewer fund or water reclamation fund is not quite as dire as water fund, but it's getting there fast. Expenditure assumptions for the water reclamation fund in fiscal year 23. Assumptions for 24, but major projects completed in 23, the water reclamation fund solar array at 3.5 million, the reuse pilot study at 3.6 million, and then major projects for fiscal year 23 carried into 24, the centrifuge replacement at $3 million, and that was shared with the new development excise fund. Line maintenance building, 4.3 million, split with the water fund. Aeration basin blower improvements, $800,000. And then major projects deferred to past fiscal year in 24. These are those delayed projects like the water fund, a storage building, 1.1 million, and then main control building renovation with laboratory, 3.5 million. So this is a depiction of the reuse pilot study that just completed. Are they drinking water?
No, not yet, but that day, yeah, Councilmember Grant, they tried out the water and it was great, it worked. But we're reading the report now. There's a report in, we're going through it, it's in draft form right now. Just going through the details with DEQ actually. Every Tuesday we have a call And once we get it to final report, then we're going to go share it with Midwest City and Dell City and start spreading the word of what the findings were.
So a sub-fund of the Water Reclamation Fund is the Sewer Maintenance Fund, and this is the $5 per month sewer maintenance fee. It was approved in 2001. That's the only source of revenue here, other than like interest income. All sewer maintenance rate projects must be on a pay-as-you-go basis. And since 2001, over 461,000 feet of sewer lines have been rehabilitated. Major projects completed in fiscal year 23, SMP Sewer Maintenance Project 17, 2.3 million is complete, 12th Avenue manholes, 1.1 million. And I should say that the green areas are the completed project areas. The blue areas are future sewer maintenance projects, and then the red areas are budgeted sewer maintenance projects. So.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, that red area just is
Yep.
predominantly Ward 2. So, do we have a timeline on those if they're budgeted? And are they all going to be in the same area?
No, so 18 is a little bit closer to Highway 9. We're at probably 70% design on that, so we're getting close. And then we're actually a little bit further on 19 because we hired a consultant to help us with that. So we hope to get one or both of those out fairly soon. So later this calendar year.
So,
and then we'll probably, sorry, go ahead.
no, that's okay. 18, 19, and 22 are all in that red area.
Yeah, so 19 and 18 are generally from Lindsay down to Highway 9. So
Okay.
that's going to be our main focus, and then we'll start work on 22.
So 22 is north of Lindsay? Okay.
So all of the red area has already been appropriated and should be in progress. Lift station D, force main, 1 million.
What we do too, on it is, we did it on a few of our projects where we'll have a meeting, have your ward come in
Okay.
and give everyone kind of a understanding.
Game plan.
Yeah, and make sure we're vested up because we'll be in backyards, sewers in the
Yeah.
backyards. So it frightens a lot of folks that stay home in the daytime. So we need to get very good on our communication on that.
Yeah, I just know that I'm probably going to hear a lot about that. So I want to know kind of what's coming ahead of us and like what the timeline is. So, yeah. Going for you.
And the new projects for fiscal year 24, sewer maintenance project 24, and $2.9 million. So the second sub-fund of the Water Reclamation Fund is the New Development Excise Tax Fund, and then this revenue is from new construction building permits based on wastewater generated. And the black line going through the middle there depicts the annual budget, 1.4 million. So most years we're coming in over that budget. The blue line is the residential new development excise tax budgeted at 1.1 million per year. And then the red section is the commercial budgeted at $300,000. So it does fluctuate based on, building permits. Still in the new development excise tax fund, fiscal year 24 projected revenues of 1.4 million, as I just stated. Projects, the Water Reclamation Fund centrifuge replacement at $2 million, and that's an expansion of biosolids capacity. And the future Southeast Lift Station at $6 million. That's deferred until planning efforts have been completed.
Councilmember.
This excise tax is a voter approved one as well as the sewer one?
Yes, sir.
Both are voter approved?
2001.
And to raise them would require voter approval as well?
Yes.
Neither have ever been raised, is that
No.
right?
The Florida one has never changed.
We did analyze that when we did the water one. Raftels looked at that and they determined that they thought the fee was spot on with the impact to us.
To highlight though, those are both voter approved fees that we have that maybe other cities don't have.
So the final slide here is a comparison of our full utility rate with those other 16 cities. This assumes 10,000 gallons of water usage as well as sewer usage, and it does include a stormwater or other utility fee where applicable. So Norman is still the lowest for water, sewer, trash, recycling. We're just under $100 per month for 10,000 gallons of usage. It looks like the other bills span anywhere from over $120 to Tulsa coming in at about $200. That, of course, I think is because that sewer rate is inflated because it's not based on the winter quarter average. But yeah, Norman is still way behind everybody for the total utility bill each month.
And based on, you know, what the proposed water rate increases, would we still be the lowest, even if we get this passed?
$7.45.
So, I mean, we're still well below. I would also like to highlight how, I mean, I guess we're not saying they're all the purple is stormwater / other, but if you're looking at that, how many of those cities actually have something that potentially could be stormwater and we don't, and we're still fighting to, you know, have some kind of funding stream for our stormwater projects. Like, look at what other communities are doing. Like, this is not out of the realm of, you know, realistic.
I think of all the cities with the additional fee in purple, only 2 of them are not stormwater, so
Okay.
the bulk of them are. And
Yeah.
the ones that are not, it's like, I think like a light fee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just noting that Moore has $1, so even they have,
Something.
and keeping in mind that all of their city councils were able to create those on their own without voter approval. But I don't know of any of those city councils getting recalled over anything, so, about that, so, you know, even if $1, you know, that helps, I'm sure, would help us, over $0.
$20,000 a month.
So that's all I have. If there are any other questions or discussion.
I was just gonna ask, does Edmond use Arcadia? Do they have their own water source? They do. Okay.
They're just like us, they have a lake,
Mm.
they buy Oklahoma City, and they have wells.
Okay.
Is that pretty normal for most of the,
No, it's unusual.
it is?
Yeah, us two are very different than other cities. Most cities are either well water, or the majority are surface water sometimes.
Maybe I should have asked this previously when we were talking about something else, but the area where we take our yard waste, there we had talked about in the past about, you know, charging outside residents to do that. Where is that? Have we instituted that?
So, yeah, so we don't want to charge our own customers because you're already paying it as part of your $17.20.
Right.
So you bring your bill, or we recognize if you're a local. But if you show up in a big landscape trailer full of grass where you've been mowing, we don't know, Moore, you know, Purcell, Norman, then it's $20 a trailer. Right now is the best we have. One of the projects we're doing will actually put in scales, so we'll weigh it, and we're going to end up charging based on weight.
Okay.
But right now, the $20 truck, the big loads, is generating about $200,000 a year of income that we weren't getting before. That helps offset the compost, which I think when it was first started, we wanted all green waste because we needed a lot, right? Well, now we're the cheapest thing in local, and so people are bringing it here instead of taking it up to I-240 and dumping it, or taking it to one of the other composting areas. And so the $20 seems to be in the right place where we're getting money to help our fund, but you know, they're still coming to us and not going to I-240 or up in Oklahoma.
So the scales, do we have a timeline on,
It's
is it in the,
How we doing on that?
because we approved that
Yeah.
project, right? So it should be
Yeah,
underway.
we're in final design, so we're working on getting our building permit. We want to get it out to bid next month.
Awesome. Yeah.
Further discussions or questions?
Well, I hope all this is wrong on June 13th. I hope we adopt a budget that doesn't matter anymore, because you're gonna get more money.
That would be wonderful. It's really amazing. I've been thrilled with this rain, this is an editorial statement. But I've been thrilled with this rain because last year we were at 57% recharge rate.
Yeah.
And that is scary. You look at our history, even in my mom's history. Water's a big deal, and if we goof it up, we're toast.
Most important resource.
I think so. We can't live without it.
Can't drink
One other editorial thing, if you check your emails, I sent in an eval for DP. And thank you, sir. And if you would get it back to me, I'd appreciate it.
Rude.
Anything else from council or anybody else? We're done. Thank you.